Man, what a day so far. Wonderful testimonies. I love hearing everything that God was doing in people's hearts. I love hearing from Michelle and her heart, like how we've been able to affect that ministry. And Pastor Gormley as well in that video. Man, you didn't see it, but shortly after that interview with him, he just started bawling. Just so thankful that we were supporting him for all of these years, and that we loved him and cared for him. And so I just want to say, what I love the testimonies, but man, what I love more is about the fact that we get to be a part in that. That we get to be a part in seeing lives changed. We get to see a part in people's futures being rearranged by the gospel of Jesus Christ. And even though this is just like a transition home, a building, there's actually a whole lot more to that than what meets the eye. You see, this is a wonderful work that is going on over there from the 20, I don't know, how many was it? 15 or 20 churches, I think, that have been started? 15 churches that have been started over there under that ministry, the orphanage, the Christian school. I believe there's a Bible Institute. I mean, that's a great work that's going on over there. And I love hearing about all that happened. But I got to say, just as we get started here, what really stood out to me the most is, as a missions pastor, I've been here for 2.5 years now, I get to see missions right up close to my face every single day. I get to see all the prayer letters that the missionaries sent. I get to see their burdens. I get to see the lives being changed. I get to see all the projects and everything that goes along with being a missions pastor. I get to see. But really what God has done is he's changed my heart. He's changed the way I look at missions. It isn't now just a dollar figure that I send out every single week, but it's lives. It's people's lives that are on the line there. And so my prayer as we went into this whole mission trip, it had been for the months leading up to it, was that God would do a work in the hearts of the people that went. As I'm a missions pastor, I'm trying to shepherd people's hearts into missions. And man, I'll tell you, every single night when we got done serving at the orphanage or at the school, we would come back to the hotel lobby, and I would just go around the room and I'd ask people to give testimony about what God did in their heart today, what stood out to them. And without fail, man, people fighting back tears because they were seeing the lives being changed through the ministry. You heard some of the stories about some of the kids that they love God because that's all they have. And so night after night that would happen. And man, it come down to the last night. I was like, all right, well, I want to hear what stood out to you the most this week. And man, without fail, tears. Because this stuff has impact. This kind of thing has impact in the lives of people that, man, I tell you, may have never heard the gospel before, but if it wasn't for someone going and playing a part in that, they were able to come to know Jesus Christ as their Savior. And so it was a wonderful trip. I loved it. And it's a great work that was happening. And that's the title of the message today. We're in Nehemiah chapter number 6. And I'll just give you a little bit of a backstory of the time that we have. This is Nehemiah, and now he's rebuilding the wall of Jerusalem. Okay? And so the 70-year captivity, that's over. They've come back. They've rebuilt the temple. Now he's rebuilding the wall, and it's actually done. He's just got a couple things left. And look with me here in verse number 1. It says, now it came to pass when Sanballat and Tobiah and Geshem, the Arabian, and the rest of our enemies, we're going to come back to that in just a minute, heard that I had builded the wall and that there was no breach left therein. Now, I want to say, first of all, as we get started here, that this is a great work. What Nehemiah was doing was a great work. But it wasn't just a financial burden that he had. Although it would have costed millions of dollars for this to take place. It wasn't just a physical burden because it took 1,000 people 52 days to complete. But it wasn't just financial, it wasn't physical, but it was more spiritual. You see, because for 70 years, the nation of Israel had been held captive by the Babylonians. And this rebuilding of the wall was really rebuilding identity for the nation of Israel. It was reminding them that they were the people of God that God said that they were. And just like in Israel, this Pomana house, this transition home, is more than just a financial contribution that we made. It was $100,000 and then $35,000 more dollars for people to go there. And then I think even more of that was given while we were there. It's more than financial. It's more than the physical aspect. It's been a year since it's been going. And there's a lot of work involved, but it's spiritual. You see, because we have the opportunity to rebuild the identity of some of these orphans who have been basically forsaken by the world. And even if you knew some of the stories, you'd understand some of their parents would just dump them somewhere and leave them to fend for themselves in a city of 22 million people. We get to rebuild the identity in these people's lives. It's so important. And so what's my charge to you, man? Just keep investing. We need to keep investing in this mission because it's more than physical. It's more than financial. It's spiritual battle. And if it wasn't for some of the work that was being done by the faithful people over there in the Philippines, man, there wouldn't be anything. But you know what we need to do as a church? We need to keep investing ourselves into this ministry. Yes, we need your money. We need the money. Yes, we need people to go on missions trips. But we need people to be spiritually invested into this mission. We need the church to be the church. The second thing that I want you to see in this passage is that the distractions are real. It's a great work, but the distractions are real. Look with me in verse number 2. It says that Sanballat and Geshem sent unto me, saying, come, let us meet together in some one of the villages in the plain of Ono. But they thought to do me mischief. It says, come, let us meet together. See, Nehemiah had some enemies, and it wasn't just Nehemiah's enemies. It was the nation of Israel's enemies. All of these people, they were sworn enemies of Israel. In chapter 2, it says that it grieved them exceedingly that there came a man to seek the welfare of the children of Israel. This is a sworn enemy. It grieved him exceedingly. They tried time and again to destroy the works of God. They tried time and again to distract Nehemiah from the purposes that God placed on his heart. But you know what? You know what Nehemiah said? Look with me in verse number 2 again. When it says, come, let us meet together in some one of the villages of the plain of Ono, but they thought to do me mischief. I sent messengers unto them saying, I'm doing a great work so that I cannot come down. He can't come down. He understood there's a place that they wanted to take him, and it wasn't just for a conversation. You know what it was? It wasn't conversation. It was compromise that they were looking at. They were trying to get Nehemiah to compromise his position. And that's always the goal of the enemy in our life. To compromise what God is trying to do in our life with all of our works so that he can get the victory. And let me tell you, we need to see through the lies. Because the enemy is going to distract you. The enemy is going to tell you all kinds of lies. But we need to see through it. And there's going to be distractions in our life. Promise you. There's going to be distractions that come. There's going to be fatigue in ministry. There's tons of fatigue. And there's going to be the distraction of comfort. You see, it's really easy for us to get comfortable in our Christianity and forget about what the real mission is. To bring the light of the gospel to the world around us. So what do we need to do? We need to see through the lies, identify our distractions, guard our focus, and resolve to finish. Why? Because the mission is too important to quit. That's why. The mission's too important to quit. Nehemiah, he could have left the wall. He could have met with the critics. But he could have stepped away, but he refused. Why did he do that? Because he says, I'm doing a great work. This is a great work. He says, but also I cannot come down. And in the Hebrew, that little phrase, that I cannot, means it'd be foolish for me to come down and step down from what I'm doing to come down to you. See, Nehemiah saw through the lies. He saw the distraction. He knew that this was an important mission to be done. The mission God called me to, he's saying, is way more important than to come down to you, than to take my eyes off of it. And we need that kind of spiritual clarity right now in our lives. Because the truth is, this transition home may be done. We may have built this transition home, sent a missions team over there, but this great work isn't finished. There's still work to be done. There's more to build, more lives to touch. Listen, we got another project coming up. And you guys want to know what it's all about? Yeah? I don't believe it. Only he knows. Like, he's the only one that wants. Yeah. I'll tell you about it later because apparently nobody else here wants to know. No, but we'll tell you about it in 2 weeks. You're not going to find out about it today. I wish I could tell you. I'm on edge to tell you about it. I'm all excited about it, but I can't tell you. So 2 weeks from now, I'll let you know. But what's the application here, man? Don't come down. Don't come down off the wall. You see, Nehemiah saw through all those distractions. There's an enemy out there that all he wants to do is to take your eyes off of the prize. He wants to take your eyes off the mission that God's called you to. How many of you in here believe that the mission is great? How many of you believe that the mission is worth every investment that we could put into it, both financially, both physically, and spiritually? And man, we need to do as a church, what we need to do is ask God to solidify that in our hearts and to help us